A very good morning to all the students present here. Today, in this video, we will have an overview of the content related to Taxation 1 that we will be covering as a part of the course in the 5th semester of BBA. So before we look into the overview of taxation syllabus, first we will try and understand what is the course objective of the particular course. The fundamental course objective of Taxation 1 is to expose the students to various provisions of Income Tax Act relating to computation of income of an individual assessee only. So whatever we are going to learn in Taxation 1 is relevant only for individuals who will be filing their returns as a part of income tax under various provisions. So here as an objective of income tax or taxation 1, we will be learning in detail about how a particular individual assessee's income is being computed. So the major objective of the course is to teach you or to make you exposed to the various provisions, duties and regulations as per the Income Tax Act that is applicable for a particular individual to file tax. Moving on to the course outcomes, which means after completing the particular course, you will be able to do the following things. Firstly, you will be able to identify what is an agricultural income and a non-agricultural income. Secondly, you will also be able to analyze the residential status of an individual. In simple, the tax to be paid by an individual differs on his residential status. For example, if I am a resident of India, then I will have to pay taxes to the Indian government. Similarly, if I am a resident in any other country, the incomes that I earn through various sources or through various provisions, I will have to pay tax in that country or in some other countries. So that is determined based on the residential status of an individual. The second outcome after learning this particular course, you will be able to analyze what is your particular residential status, which is most essential to understand where you have to pay tax and how much you have to pay tax. The third outcome is to estimate the taxable salary of an individual assessee. Now, as many of us in future might be salaried people who are going to receive salary from any organizations or from any other companies as such, we will have to know how our salary components is broken up and how these salaries are put to tax into actual practice. So that is our outcome 3. And the course outcome 4 talks about determining the exemptions available as per income tax. So under various heads of income, maybe income from salary, income from house property or income from business or profession, we have various exemptions that the Income Tax Act 1961 avails a particular individual to claim these exemptions. So, as a part of the outcome of this particular course, we will be able to analyze what may be the exemptions that an individual can avail according to Income Tax Act 1961. And at last, you will also be able to assess the income from property of an individual. Now, it doesn't mean that only salaried people pay taxes, but people who own a house also earn income in the form of rent that they get from the house property. So how are these house property incomes put to tax and how much do you have to pay varies depending upon the municipal value and various other values that are given. So the last objective of the course focuses on how do you assess the income from the house property that a particular individual owns. So this entire component will be taught to you in the 5th semester as a part of taxation 1, and the other half of the heads of income will be covered in the next coming semester, which is determined by taxation 2. Okay, so now we will have an overview of what our syllabus exactly comprises of. So as I was talking to you, these are the 4 units that we are going to study in taxation 1. If you look into unit number 1, talks about introduction to taxation. So under this unit number 1, you will be learning various components such as meaning of tax, what are the different types of tax classified as direct taxes and indirect taxes, what do you mean by tax, what are the principles or canons that a tax authority follows while collecting or levying taxes, the different definitions that are important for a particular individual to understand like SSC, person, what is assessment year, what is previous year, what do you mean by gross total income, what is net total income, etc. will be dealt with. So these definitions are very important, and it is taught to you in unit number 1, so that as we progress in taxation, we will be using only these terminologies in order to understand and compute taxation. Now, apart from this, we will also be learning about what do you mean by agricultural income and non-agricultural income. And also, we will try to classify the incomes into agricultural income and non-agricultural income. Suppose, let's say, an individual has both agricultural income and non-agricultural income, then how is this integration of income put to tax will also be dealt with. And moreover, as a recent implementation, as the government is now following GST as a part of indirect taxes, we will also learn about goods and service taxes. What do you mean by it? What are the objectives? The salient features of goods and service taxes, the structure of GST, how is it in practice in India, and what is GSTN. So all these put together will comprise in unit number 1, which is Introduction to Taxation, and will be dealt in 10 hours. Moving on to unit number 2, talks about residential status and incidence of tax. As I told you earlier, residential status determines the tax liability of a particular individual on how much of tax has to be paid and where that particular tax has to be paid. So in residential status, we will be analyzing whether a particular individual is a resident of a particular country or a non-resident of a particular country, or whether he is an ordinary resident or a not ordinary resident. So this becomes a major component in order to assess the residential status, because residential status tells you the determination of the citizenship of a particular individual for the purpose of paying taxes. And after covering residential status, we will also be looking into a concept called incidence of tax, which means a particular income, where is it earned and where is it put to tax according to the residential status will be determined with. And also in the unit, we will be covering up with the exemptions under section 10. And here, when I say exemptions under section 10, we are restricted only from the point of view of an individual person who is liable to pay taxes. So that is about unit number 2, and which will, according to the syllabus, will take 14 hours of time. And unit number 3, the major component of taxation 1 lies in unit number 3, where we are going to compute income from salaries. Now, we all know what do you mean by salary. It is an amount that is paid by an employer to an employee on a monthly basis for the services that he or she renders. Now, what are the components of salary? When I say salary, it includes various components like basic salary, bonus, DA, my travel allowance, my commission, my perquisites, and various other components. So similarly, in unit number 3, we will be learning with what are the various components of salary, what are the features of the income from salary, what do you mean by basic salary, what are the different types of allowances that a company gives you, and how these allowances are put to tax, what do you mean by perquisites, how are these perquisites put to tax, etc. will be dealt in unit number 3. And please remember, unit number 3 has the highest weightage when compared to the other units in taxation 1. Coming to the last unit, that is unit number 4, covers income from house property. Now, as I told you, if you are an individual and if you own a house property in a particular city, then how is that income from the property that you earn put to tax is what we are going to deal with in unit number 4. So here in unit number 4, we will be learning about what are the deductions that are available under income from house property that an individual can claim. How do you calculate gross annual income? How do you calculate net annual income? And also we will understand about what are the various deductions that are available under income from house property for the purpose of computation of taxes. So by this, by covering all these 4 units, we will be covering the syllabus of income tax 1. Just to note, there are 5 heads of income as per taxation. The first head being income from salary, the second head being income from house property, the third one income from business or profession, fourth one income from capital gain, and the fifth one income from other sources. Now, apart from this 5 heads of income, in taxation 1, that is in the 5th semester, we will be covering only the first 2 heads of income, that is income from salary and income from house property, wherein the other 3 heads of income will be dealt in the coming semesters. So here I am giving you the tips or the books that are necessary for references, and these are the standard books that we refer on a yearly basis. And please remember, whenever you refer to any books in taxation, you have to refer the books of the current assessment year. So the two author book that we recommend for you to refer is Vinod K. Sinhania, Taxman Publication, and Dr. Usha Devi from Himalaya Publication House. Wishing all a fruitful learning experience. Thank you.